or has created plenty of wild Mustangs over its 60-year history. But this particular car may stand above almost all of them. You could easily argue that it is the most extreme Mustang of the last 30 years, and in many ways, it serves as a spiritual forerunner to today's absolutely unhinged Mustang GTD. Back in the year 2000, Ford's engineers were quietly working on something special, a track-focused Mustang designed not just to outperform any production Camaro, but also to genuinely worry high-end European sports cars. That car was given a very simple name, the FR500. What Ford did beneath the surface to turn it into a true monster, however, was anything but simple. To understand how radical the FR500 was, you first need to look at the Mustang lineup at the time. For regular production Mustangs, the year 2000 was actually a strong one. The new Edge Mustang body style had debuted just a year earlier in 1999, bringing sharper lines and a much more aggressive look to the SN95 platform. Under the hood, Ford's 6L 2-valve per cylinder modular V8 received updated cylinder heads that bumped horsepower up noticeably. Even with these improvements, though, the basic structure of the car was still heavily rooted in the Fox body Mustang architecture, which had first appeared roughly 20 years earlier. There was no way around it. The chassis was old, and a brand new Mustang GT was still, at its core, another evolution of that long-running Fox platform. Where things really got interesting was under the SVT badge. In 1999, Ford released the all-new Mustang SVT Cobra, and with it came something no production Mustang had ever received before, an independent rear suspension. This was a massive leap forward, introduced primarily to improve handling and cornering performance. It showed that Ford was finally serious about building a Mustang that could truly turn. Paired with the dual overhead cam version of the 6L modular V8, the Cobra made 320 horsepower and loved to rev. These Cobras delivered a level of handling capability that had never been seen in a Mustang before. Still, Ford knew the new Edge platform had far more potential. Instead of stopping with the Cobra, they took one of their test mule cars and decided to push things as far as they possibly could. Leading this effort was Dan Davis, the head of Ford Racing Technology. When Davis stepped into his role, he quickly realized that Ford's longtime performance staple, the aging 0L pushrod V8, was becoming outdated. The future of Ford performance clearly lay with the newer modular V8 engines. Davis believed the best way to prove their potential was to build a Mustang so advanced and so capable that it would demand respect not just from Mustang fans, but from the entire performance car world. Ford's engineers handled the concept and design work in-house, but when it came to fabrication and assembly, they had to rely on outside partners such as McLaren Engines. What made the challenge even tougher was the budget. They were given just $500,000, which is incredibly small by corporate research and development standards. With so little money to work with, every decision mattered. Every modification had to serve a purpose, and every dollar spent had to deliver real performance gain. After a lot of planning, Ford settled on an ambitious strategy. They would take a standard Mustang, stretch the wheelbase, completely redesign the suspension, remove as much unnecessary weight as possible, and build a brand new version of the modular V8 capable of producing over 400 horsepower while still meeting emissions regulations. For the engine, they started with the aluminum 6L dual overhead cam Cobra motor, but increased its displacement to a full 0L. Internally, the FR500 retained the Cobra's forged crankshaft and connecting rods, but received new pistons designed to work with newly developed Ford racing cylinder heads. These cylinder heads featured larger intake and exhaust valves, revised porting, and 4 aggressive new camshafts that significantly improved airflow at high RPM. Sitting on top of the engine was a brand new magnesium intake manifold, fitted with twin 70mm throttle bodies borrowed from Ford's 4L Triton truck engine. The result was 415 horsepower at 6,800 revolutions per minute and 360 FTLB of torque at 4,200 revolutions per minute, all achieved without any form of force induction. That was nearly 100 more horsepower than a stock 6L engine. Thanks to its wide torque curve and high revving nature, the engine felt responsive and alive at any speed. Power was sent through a T56 6-speed manual transmission, a significant upgrade over the 1999 Cobra's 5-speed. Because the engine was all aluminum, weight distribution improved dramatically. A standard Mustang Cobra of the same era had roughly 56% of its weight over the front and 44% over the rear. The FR500, by contrast, achieved a perfect 50-50 weight balance. This was no accident. It was a direct result of extensive chassis modifications. Achieving that balance required some of the most extreme structural changes ever applied to a Mustang at the time. Ford's engineers understood that true handling performance couldn't be unlocked with power alone or minor suspension tweaks. The first major change was extending the wheelbase by 5 inches. This pushed the front wheels forward by 5 in, shifting weight toward the rear. To make this possible, Ford created a new tubular front subframe that relocated all suspension mounting points further ahead of the engine. As a result, the engine now sat completely behind the front wheels, giving the FR 500 a front mid-engine layout similar to modern cars like the Mercedes-AMG GTR. In addition to the longer wheelbase, the front track width was increased by 1 in, which further improved stability and turn-in response. At the rear, the FR 500 retained the Cobra's independent rear suspension, but the front suspension was completely redesigned. Ford ditched the traditional McPherson strut setup. The upper control arms were actually borrowed from the rear suspension of a Lincoln LS, while the lower control arms were custom-built specifically for this car. This setup transformed how the Mustang behaved in corners, making it far more stable, responsive, and precise than any traditional pony car. Weight reduction was another key focus. Ford used carbon fiber and lightweight composite materials for many exterior panels. The hood alone lost 23 pounds, and the front and rear fascia, fenders, rocker panels, and deck lid were also made from lightweight materials. Fully fueled, the FR 500 weighed around 3,400 pounds, helping it match its newfound handling abilities. Stopping power was upgraded as well. The FR 500 received massive 14 inches 4-piston Brembo brakes up front and 13 inches rotors in the rear, ensuring it could slow down just as confidently as it could accelerate. Aerodynamics were also improved. The redesigned front fascia eliminated the upper grille and was shaped to reduce drag while directing airflow more efficiently. Wind tunnel testing showed a reduction in the drag coefficient from 38 to 36. While that may sound minor, it made a meaningful difference at higher speeds, especially with the extra gear and added horsepower. The rear fascia was completely redesigned too, featuring a new bumper that accommodated quad stainless steel exhaust tips. This served as both a visual and auditory signal that this was no ordinary Mustang. The FR 500 also debuted a unique wheel design created specifically for the car, a style that later became extremely popular in the New Edge Mustang aftermarket. When the FR 500 finally hit the track at Road Atlanta, it proved just how far Ford had pushed the Mustang's performance limits. Period reviews from Car and Driver and other publications compared directly against AZ51 Corvette and a brand new Dodge Viper GTS. The FR 500 held its own, delivering sharp turn-in, excellent grip, and balanced power delivery. Unlike standard Mustangs, which often suffer from understeer and rear-end instability due to their live axles, the FR 500 felt composed and predictable. While the Viper offered raw brute force and the Corvette delivered refined handling, the FR 500 landed perfectly in between, offering race car precision without sacrificing control. It wasn't just the best handling Mustang of its era, it was a truly world-class performance car. People often forget how big a leap the C5 Corvette was compared to the C4, and the FR 500 was right there with it, and even the Viper in many respects. The FR 500 was simply ahead of its time. It was an engineering masterpiece that hinted at what Ford could achieve if it removed all compromises. The real tragedy is that the FR 500 never progressed beyond the test mule stage. Had it reached production, it likely would have reshaped the Mustang's future much sooner. We might have seen handling-focused Mustangs decades earlier, and independent rear suspension could have become standard long before it finally appeared on the Mustang GT in 2015. Today's Mustang GTD fulfills the promise that the FR 500 first made, proving that a Mustang could be far more than just a pony car.